Wednesday, July 1st, 2026. Today's World News Headline Summary. 1. CNN. 1-1. Drug cartels adapt as U.S. boat strikes fail to curb cocaine, fentanyl supply. The United States government's highly militarized approach to combating drug trafficking, primarily involving targeted boat strikes in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, has largely failed to curb the supply of cocaine and fentanyl. Despite President Donald Trump's emphasis on demonstrating military force, addiction scientists and experts note that drug cartels have swiftly adapted by shifting their smuggling routes to air transport and commercial shipping containers. Furthermore, this aggressive military tactic has alienated key international allies who are essential for intelligence gathering. Countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, and the Netherlands have restricted or suspended intelligence sharing with the U.S. due to mounting concerns over potential human rights violations. Adding to the controversy, the recent authorization of a double-tap strike that killed survivors clinging to a disabled vessel has sparked internal military pushback and international uproar. Consequently, the street prices of narcotics remain largely unaffected, indicating that these multi-million-dollar military operations function more as political theater than an effective deterrence strategy. Vocabulary. Militarize. Verb. 군사화하다, 무장시키다. The border dispute led both nations to militarize the region. Curb. Verb. 억제하다, 제한하다. The government introduced new policies to curb inflation. Adapt. Verb. 적응하다, 맞추다. Businesses must adapt to changing consumer demands to survive. Smuggle. Verb. 밀수하다, 밀반입하다. They were caught trying to smuggle illegal goods across the border. Alienate. Verb. 소외시키다, 멀어지게 하다. The manager's harsh words served only to alienate his team. Suspend. Verb. 중단하다, 유보하다. The airline decided to suspend all flights due to the hurricane. Disabled. Adjective. 파손된, 망가진, 장애를 가진. The rescue team towed the disabled boat back to the harbor. Pushback. Noun. 반발, 저항. The new tax law faced significant pushback from the public. Uproar. Noun. 대소동, 공분. The controversial referee decision caused an uproar among the fans. Deterrence. Noun. 억제력, 저지. Nuclear weapons act as a strong deterrence against foreign attacks. 시사 용어 해설. 더블탭 스트라이크, 이중 타격, 확인 사살. 본래 군사 용어로 표적을 확실하게 무력화하기 위해 동일한 목표물에 연속으로 2번의 폭격을 가하는 전술입니다. 이 기사에서는 1차 타격 후 살아남은 마약 운반책들마저 2차 타격으로 사살한 가혹한 작전을 비판적으로 묘사할 때 쓰였습니다. 사우스콤, 미국 남부사령부. 유나이티드 스테이츠 서던 커맨드의 약자로 중남미 및 카리브해 지역의 미군 작전을 총괄하는 통합 전투사령부입니다.
Venezuela earthquake doublet triggers massive crisis. Venezuela recently experienced its most powerful seismic event in over 125 years, as a rare earthquake doublet devastated the northern part of the country. Striking just 39 seconds apart, the consecutive magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 main shocks originated at a shallow depth of only 10 kilometers, heavily concentrating destructive energy at the surface. This intense radiation of energy collapsed buildings across major urban centers, including the capital city of Caracas, and forced the shutdown of the nation's primary international airport. Seismologists explained that the ruptures occurred along a complex tectonic boundary, where the Caribbean plate grinds against the South American plate, releasing immense horizontal energy. As the full scale of the structural damage and human toll continues to emerge, international engineers and disaster response teams are closely monitoring the unfolding humanitarian crisis.
This catastrophic event places an unbearable strain on a nation already struggling with profound economic instability. Vocabulary. Seismic. Adjective. 지진의, 지진의 이한. The country is located in a highly active seismic zone. Doublet. Noun. 쌍을 이루는 두 개. 연속 발생. The region experienced a rare earthquake doublet within minutes. Devastate. Verb. 완전히 파괴하다. The unexpected flood devastated the entire farming community. Consecutive. Adjective. 연이은, 연속적인. It has rained for 5 consecutive days this week. Main shock. Noun. 지진 중 추가되는 지진.
N. 지진의 본진. The initial tremor was followed by a devastating main shock. Rupture. Noun, verb. 파열, 파열되다. The sudden rupture of the water pipe flooded the basement. Tectonic. Adjective. 지질 구조상의, 지각 변동의. Earthquakes are caused by the shifting of tectonic plates. Humanitarian. Adjective. 인도주의적인. The UN launched a major humanitarian mission to deliver food. Strain. Noun. 부담, 압박. The sudden influx of patients put a massive strain on the hospital. Profound. Adjective. 엄청난, 심오한. The discovery had a profound impact on the medical community. 시사용어 해설. Earthquake doublet. 연속 지진, 이중 지진. 동일한 단층대나 인접한 단층에서 시차를 거의 두지 않고 비슷한 규모의 강진이 연속해서 2번 발생하는 매우 드문 현상입니다. 여진, aftershock과 달리 본진이 2번 연속 온 것으로 간주하여 피해가 극대화됩니다. tectonic boundary, 지각 경계. 지구 겉면을 이루는 거대한 암석판, plate들이 서로 만나거나 어긋나는 경계선입니다. 이 경계에서 판들이 마찰을 일으키며 지진이 발생합니다. 13-3. Texas approves mandatory Bible readings in public schools. The state of Texas has sparked widespread national controversy by approving a measure that mandates Bible readings in public schools. This legislative move represents a significant push by conservative lawmakers to integrate religious texts directly into the public education curriculum. However, the mandate has immediately encountered fierce opposition from civil rights organizations and educational advocates, who argue it is blatantly unconstitutional. Critics assert that enforcing biblical studies violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, which fundamentally guarantees the separation of church and state. As legal challenges are swiftly being prepared, the ensuing legal battle is expected to set a critical precedent regarding religious freedom and educational boundaries across the United States. Vocabulary. Mandatory. Adjective. 의무적인, 강제. Attendance at the safety orientation is mandatory for all new employees. Mandate. Verb/noun. 의무화하다, 명령. The new law mandates that all cars must have seatbelts. Controversy. Noun. 논란, 논쟁. The referee's decision caused a lot of controversy after the game. Integrate. Verb. 통합하다. The school aims to integrate technology into every classroom. Fierce. Adjective. 고센, 맹렬한. The proposal faced fierce opposition from local residents. Blatantly. Adverb. 노골적으로, 명백히. He was blatantly lying about his involvement in the project. Unconstitutional. Adjective. 위헌해. The Supreme Court ruled that the strict censorship law was unconstitutional. Assert. Verb. 주장하다, 단언하다. BBC 2-1. French military seizes Russian Shadow Fleet tanker. In a highly coordinated maritime operation, the French military, supported by a United Kingdom Royal Navy warship, successfully intercepted and seized a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker in the international waters of the Atlantic Ocean. This bold maneuver is part of a broader Western effort to disrupt Russia's illicit export of oil, which Moscow uses to evade international economic sanctions. The term shadow fleet refers to aging, often uninsured vessels operating covertly to facilitate this sanctioned trade. The seizure has severely escalated diplomatic tensions between Europe and Moscow. The Russian government immediately condemned the action, officially stating that the illegal seizure borders on international piracy. Analysts suggest this incident marks a significant tactical escalation in the enforcement of maritime sanctions against Russia. Vocabulary. Seize. Verb. 납포하다, 압수하다. The police seized a large amount of illegal drugs at the border. Intercept. Verb. 차단하다, 가로채다. The missile defense system successfully intercepted the incoming rocket. Maneuver. Noun. 조작, 작전, 책략. The general planned a brilliant tactical maneuver to outflank the enemy. Disrupt. Verb. 지장을 주다, 방해하다. The heavy snowfall disrupted the city's public transportation system. Illicit. Adjective. 불법에. The government cracked down on the illicit trade of exotic animals. Evade. Verb. 회피하다, 피하다. He was arrested for attempting to evade paying his income taxes. Covertly. Adverb. 은밀하게, 비밀리에. The spies communicated covertly using encrypted messaging apps. Escalate. Verb. 고조되다, 악화되다. The minor argument quickly escalated into a physical fight. Condemn. Verb. 규탄하다, 비난하다. World leaders condemned the terrorist attack in the strongest terms. Piracy. Noun. 해적행위, 불법 복제. Maritime piracy remains a serious threat in certain global trade routes. 시사 영어 해설. Shadow Fleet. 그림자 함대. 국가의 제재를 피하기 위해 국적을 숨기거나 추적 장치를 끄고 몰래 운항하는 불법 선박 무리를 뜻합니다. 러시아가 석유 수출 제재를 피하기 위해 이들을 주로 사용합니다. International waters. 공해. 어느 한 국가의 주권이 미치지 않는 바다를 뜻합니다. 공해상에서의 선박 납포는 매우 민감한 국제법적 문제를 야기할 수 있습니다. 2.2. Archbishop of York says religion is vital for rebuilding trust in media. The Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, has delivered a powerful keynote speech asserting that religion is indispensable for understanding society and must be given greater prominence in the media. Speaking at the Religion Media Festival on July 1st, the Archbishop addressed the widespread erosion of public trust in institutions, public figures, and media outlets alike. He argued that treating faith as merely a private or marginal issue weakens community cohesion and disconnects the media from the lived realities of many people. According to Cottrell, rebuilding this fractured trust requires a strong foundation of religious literacy among journalists and broadcasters. By acknowledging that faith remains central to public life, the media can foster deeper connections and help hold increasingly polarized communities together. Vocabulary. Archbishop. Noun. 대주교. The Archbishop delivered a sermon advocating for peace and tolerance. Indispensable. Adjective. 없어서는 안 돼. 필수적인. A smartphone has become an indispensable tool in modern daily life. Prominence. Noun. 중요성. 명성, 두드러짐. The environmental issue gained prominence after the global summit. Erosion. Noun. 부식, 신뢰 등의 붕괴. The scandal led to a gradual erosion of public confidence in the mayor. Marginal. Adjective. 미미한, 주변적임. The new policy had only a marginal effect on reducing unemployment. Cohesion. Noun. 화합, 결속. Shared values are essential for the social cohesion of a community. Fractured. Adjective. 균열된, 골절된. The mediator tried to repair the fractured relationship between the two nations. Literacy. Noun. 문해력, 특정 분야의 지식. Improving digital literacy is a major goal for the new education board. Acknowledge. Verb. 인정하다. The government finally acknowledged the severity of the economic crisis. Polarize. Verb. 양극화하다, 분열시키다. The controversial debate continued to polarize the nation's voters. Keynote speech. 기조연설. 주요 행사나 회의에서 그 모임의 핵심 주제나 방향을 제시하기 위해 가장 비중 있는 인물이 하는 연설입니다. Religious literacy. 종교적 문해력. 단순히 종교의 교리를 아는 것을 넘어 다양한 종교적 신념과 관습이 사회, 정치, 문화에 미치는 영향을 깊이 이해하고 맥락을 파악하는 능력을 말합니다. 2-3. Thousands protest in Southampton against student murder. A wave of public outrage has swept through Southampton, England, following the tragic murder of 18-year-old university student Henry Nowak. Thousands of grieving and angry citizens gathered to protest the killing, demanding justice and better protection for young people. The situation escalated rapidly as protesters violently clashed with local police forces, reflecting deep-seated community frustration. Adding fuel to the unrest are serious allegations regarding the police's initial mishandling of the incident. In response to the mounting public pressure, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, has officially confirmed that it has launched a thorough investigation into the police department's actions surrounding the case. This incident highlights a growing disconnect and lack of trust between the community and law enforcement agencies. Vocabulary. Outrage. Noun. 공분, 격분. The court's lenient sentence sparked widespread public outrage. Tragic. Adjective. 비극적인. The tragic accident claimed the lives of 3 young children. Grieve. Verb. 슬퍼하다, 애도하다. The entire nation grieved for the victims of the natural disaster. Escalate. Verb. 악화되다, 고조되다. The minor argument escalated quickly into a serious conflict. Clash. Verb. Noun. 충돌하다, 물리적 충돌. Riot police clashed with the violent demonstrators in the city square. Deep-seated. Adjective. 뿌리 깊은, 고질적인. The country suffers from deep-seated cultural prejudices. Allegation. Noun. 혐의. 주장. He strongly denied the allegations of financial fraud. Mishandle. Verb. 서투르게 다루다. 처리를 잘못하다. The crisis was severely mishandled by the inexperienced management team. Thorough. Adjective. 철저한. 빈틈없는. The detective conducted a thorough search of the crime scene. Law enforcement. Noun. 법 집행기관. 경찰 등. Local law enforcement is working hard to reduce the city's crime rate. 시사용어 해설. IOPC, Independent Office for Police Conduct. 영국의 경찰 독립조사국입니다. 경찰이 법을 어기거나 직무를 유기했다는 불만이 접수되었을 때 경찰 내부가 아닌 외부의 독립된 기관에서 객관적으로 수사하기 위해 설립된 기구입니다.
3. ABC Australia. 3-1. Australia will strengthen social media ban for children under 16. The Australian federal government has announced plans to introduce stringent legislation aimed at banning children under the age of 16 from accessing social media platforms. The new laws emphasize platform accountability, explicitly stating that tech companies will face more severe financial penalties if they fail to enforce these age restrictions effectively. This legislative push comes amid growing alarm over the detrimental impacts of social media on adolescent mental health, including issues like cyberbullying and harmful algorithms. Lawmakers firmly argue that the burden of protecting minors should fall heavily on the tech giants who design these platforms, rather than solely on parents. While tech companies have expressed concerns about the technical feasibility of strict age verification systems, the Australian government remains resolute in its mission to safeguard the well-being of the younger generation. Vocabulary. Stringent. Adjective. 엄격한, 가혹한. The government imposed stringent rules on carbon emissions. Penalty. Noun. 처벌, 벌금. The company paid a hefty penalty for violating environmental laws. Accountability. Noun. 책임, 의무. The new policy aims to improve accountability in corporate governance. Detrimental. Adjective. 해로운, 유해한. Smoking has a highly detrimental effect on your lungs. Adolescent. Noun. Adjective. 청소년의. The program provides counseling services for troubled adolescents. Burden. Noun. 짐, 부담. The financial burden of the project was too much for the city. Feasibility. Noun. 실행 가능성. The committee is studying the feasibility of building a new bridge. Verification. Noun. 확인, 입증. You need to provide photo ID for age verification at the entrance for verification at the entrance. Resolute. Adjective. 단호한, 확고한. The leader remained resolute in his decision despite the criticism. Safeguard. Verb. 보호하다, 지키다. We must implement measures to safeguard our personal data online. 시사용어 해설. Age verification system. 연령 인증 시스템. 사용자가 특정 서비스에 접근하기 전 법적 제한 연령 이상인지를 확인하는 기술적 장치입니다. 신분증 스캔, 얼굴 인식 등이 거론되지만 개인정보 침해 논란이 자주 동반됩니다. Tech giants. 거대 기술 기업. 메타, 페이스북, 인스타그램. 구글, 유튜브, 틱톡 등 전 세계 디지털 생태계와 데이터를 장악하고 있는 초대형 IT 기업들을 일컫는 말입니다.
3.2. Housing shortage does not deter town from embracing migrants. Against a backdrop of highly contentious political debates regarding national immigration policy, the regional town of Naracoorte in South Australia is taking a remarkably inclusive approach. Despite facing a severe local housing shortage, the town continues to warmly embrace refugees and migrants from diverse backgrounds. Local residents and business owners argue that this significant migrant community is actually breathing new life into the rural area, which had previously been suffering from population decline. The newcomers are filling crucial labor shortages in local industries and enriching the town's cultural fabric. This localized success story stands in stark contrast to the often hostile rhetoric seen at the national political level. Observers suggest that Naracoorte's community-driven integration model could serve as a valuable blueprint for other regional towns struggling with demographic shifts. Vocabulary. Deter. Verb. 단념시키다, 저지하다. The heavy rain did not deter the marathon runners from finishing the race. Embrace. Verb. 수용하다, 포옹하다. The company needs to embrace new technologies to stay competitive. Contentious. Adjective. 논쟁을 초래하는. Abortion remains a highly contentious issue in many countries. Inclusive. Adjective. 포용적인, 포함하는. The school promotes an inclusive environment for students of all backgrounds. Decline. Noun. Verb. 감소, 하락하다. The town experienced a steady economic decline over the past decade. Crucial. Adjective. 결정적인, 중대한. Excellent teamwork is crucial to the success of this project. Enrich. Verb. 풍요롭게 하다, 질을 높이다. Traveling to different countries can greatly enrich your perspective on life. Stark. Adjective. 극명한, 삭막한. The stark contrast between the rich and the poor was evident in the city. Hostile. Adjective. 적대적인. The hostile working environment forced many employees to quit. Demographic. Adjective. Noun. 인구 통계학의 인구 구조. The company changed its marketing strategy to target a younger demographic. 시사용어 해설. Housing shortage, 주택 부족. 수요에 비해 공급되는 집이 턱없이 부족한 현상입니다. 이민자가 늘어나면 주택 수요가 급증하여 집값이 폭등하기 때문에 보통 이민을 반대하는 주요 근거로 쓰입니다. Demographic shifts, 인구 구조 변화. 고령화, 저출산 혹은 이민 유입 등으로 인해 한 사회를 구성하는 인구의 연령, 성별, 인종 비율 등이 크게 달라지는 현상을 뜻합니다. Number 3. 3. 6 killed after shooting at women's shelter in German town of Stade. A horrifying shooting incident has left 6 people dead at a youth and maternity welfare center in the northern German town of Stade. The targeted facility primarily serves as a protective shelter for vulnerable mothers and their children, making the violence particularly shocking to the local community. Local police have grimly described the incident as a family tragedy and have successfully apprehended a male suspect, along with a female companion. While the exact motives remain under intense investigation, the sheer brutality of the attack has sent ripples of grief and outrage across Germany. Authorities are now facing mounting pressure to review and reinforce security protocols at welfare institutions designed to act as safe havens for those escaping domestic turmoil. Vocabulary. Horrifying. Adjective. 소름 끼치는, 끔찍한. The survivors shared horrifying details of the train crash. Welfare. Noun. 복지. 후생. The government announced new funding for child welfare programs. Vulnerable. Adjective. 취약한. 상처받기 쉬운. The elderly are especially vulnerable to the extreme heat. Grimly. Adverb. 암울하게. 엄숙하게. The doctor grimly delivered the bad news to the patient's family. Apprehend. Verb. 체포하다. 파악하다. The police managed to apprehend the thief within 2 hours. Motive. Noun. 동기. 이유. The detective is still trying to discover the killer's exact motive. Sheer. Adjective. 순전한. 엄청난. The sheer size of the mountain took my breath away. Brutality. Noun. 잔혹성. 야만성. The dictator was notorious for the brutality of his regime. Protocol. Noun. 수칙. 의전. 통신규약. All employees must follow the strict safety protocols in the lab. Haven.
Noun. 피난처, 안식처. The island is a well-known haven for rare bird species. 시사용어 해설. Women's shelter, 여성 보호소, 쉼터. 가정폭력이나 학대를 피해 도망친 여성과 그 자녀들에게 임시 숙소와 심리적 지원, 법률 자문 등을 제공하는 안전시설입니다. 위치를 비밀로 유지하는 경우가 많습니다.
4. The Korea Times. For 1, Hong Myung-bo steps down as Korea coach after World Cup early exit. Hong Myung-bo has officially resigned as the head coach of the South Korean men's national football team following a deeply disappointing group stage exit at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Making his announcement at a press conference in Zapopan, Mexico, Hong took full responsibility for the team's lackluster tactical performances. Despite a promising initial victory against the Czech Republic, the Taeguk Warriors suffered consecutive losses to Mexico and South Africa, concluding the tournament in 34th place overall, the worst finish in the nation's World Cup history. Hong's reappointment in 2024 was marred by controversy and faced immense backlash over an opaque vetting process by the Korea Football Association, KFA. Now that the team has been eliminated, the KFA and its president, Chung Mung-yu, are facing intense public and political scrutiny, with fans demanding a comprehensive overhaul of the governing body's management structures. Vocabulary. Resign. Verb. 사임하다. 물러나다. The CEO decided to resign after the financial scandal broke out. Lackluster. Adjective. 신통치 않은. 부진한. The movie received poor reviews due to a lackluster plot. Consecutive. Adjective. 연이은. 연속적인. It has rained for 5 consecutive days this week. mar. Verb. 손상시키다. 망치다. The celebration was marred by a violent protest in the streets. Opaque. Adjective. 불투명한. 이해하기 힘든. The government's opaque decision-making process frustrated citizens. Vetting. Noun. 검증. 심사. All candidates must go through a rigorous vetting procedure. Eliminate. Verb. 탈락시키다. 제거하다. Our team was eliminated in the semi-finals of the tournament. Scrutiny. Noun. 정밀조사. 철저한 검토. The company's tax records came under close scrutiny by auditors. Comprehensive. Adjective. 포괄적인. 종합적인. The school offers a comprehensive training program for new teachers. Overhaul. Noun. Verb. 전면 개편. 철저히 점검하다. The healthcare system requires a major overhaul to be efficient. 시사용어 해설. Group stage exit. 조별리그 탈락. 월드컵 등 토너먼트 대회에서 예선 조별리그를 통과하지 못하고 본선 진출에 실패하여 일찍 탈락하는 것을 의미합니다. Governing body. 관리기구. 주관단체. 특정 스포츠나 단체를 총괄하고 규정을 제정하며 관리 감독하는 최고 권위기구를 의미합니다. 이 기사에서는 대한축구협회 KFA를 지칭합니다.
4-2. Korea's World Cup team members guaranteed $52,000 payouts despite humiliating exit. Despite suffering a humiliating early exit at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the 26 members of the South Korean national football team are guaranteed to receive payouts of 80 million won, approximately $52,000 each. According to the Korea Football Association's KFA established bonus structure, this sum includes a base participation fee of 50 million won, plus an additional 30 million won for their singular group stage victory over the Czech Republic. In total, the KFA will distribute slightly over 2 billion won to the squad. However, the team's failure to advance means players missed out on highly lucrative performance bonuses tied to reaching the knockout stages. Furthermore, Massive personal donations previously promised by KFA President Chung Mong-gyu, which would have scaled up to 3 billion won for a quarterfinal run, have been abruptly cancelled. The payouts fall drastically short of the 340 million won maximum awarded during their successful 2022 Qatar campaign. Vocabulary. Humiliating. Adjective. 굴욕적인, 수치스러운. The champions suffered a humiliating defeat in the first round. Guarantee. Verb. 보장하다, 약속하다. The appliance comes with a 2-year warranty to guarantee its quality. Payout. Noun. 지불금, 배당금. The insurance company agreed to a massive payout for the damages. Sum. Noun. 액수, 총합. He donated a large sum of money to the local charity. Singular. Adjective. 단일해, 뛰어난. The artist's singular focus was on completing his masterpiece. Distribute. Verb. 분배하다, 나눠주다. The organization will distribute food and blankets to the refugees. Lucrative. Adjective. 수익성이 좋은, 돈이 되는. She left her current job for a much more lucrative position in tech. Abruptly. Adverb. 갑자기, 돌연히. The car stopped abruptly to avoid hitting the dog on the road. Drastically. Adverb. 급격하게, 철저하게. The company's profits dropped drastically during the recession. Campaign. Noun. 선거, 스포츠 등의 캠페인, season. The team had a very successful campaign, winning the championship. 시사 용어 해설. 보너스 스트럭처, 보너스 수당 구조. 기본급 외에 특정 목표나 성과를 달성했을 때 지급되는 추가 보상금의 지급 비율이나 규정을 의미합니다. 골 디퍼렌셜, 골 득실차. 축구리그나 조별 예선에서 팀이 넣은 총 득점에서 허용한 총 실점을 뺀 수치입니다. 승점이 같을 경우 순위를 결정하는 아주 중요한 지표가 됩니다.
4-3. Samsung SK Hynix pledge $519 billion for Southwestern chip hub. In a monumental move to solidify South Korea's dominance in the global technology sector, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix have pledged a combined investment of $519 billion to develop a massive semiconductor hub in the nation's southwestern region. This unprecedented financial commitment is strategically timed to capitalize on the explosive global demand for advanced memory chips, which is currently being driven by the relentless artificial intelligence, AI boom. The proposed megacluster aims to centralize research, development, and manufacturing facilities, creating a highly efficient supply chain ecosystem. The South Korean government has enthusiastically welcomed the initiative, promising robust infrastructural support and significant tax incentives. Analysts predict that this colossal project will not only secure the country's economic future against fierce international competition, but also generate hundreds of thousands of high-tech jobs over the next decade. Vocabulary. Monumental. Adjective. 기념비적인. 엄청난. The successful moon landing was a monumental achievement for humanity.
Solidify. Verb. 굳히다, 확고히 하다. The new treaty will solidify the alliance between the two nations. Pledge. Verb. Noun. 약속하다, 맹세. The wealthy businessman pledged to donate half his fortune to charity. Unprecedented. Adjective. 전례 없는, 유례 없는. The hurricane caused an unprecedented amount of damage to the city. Capitalize on. Phrasal verb. 뭐뭐를 활용하다, 기회로 삼다. The company capitalized on the new health trend by launching organic products. Relentless. Adjective. 끈질긴, 멈추지 않는. The relentless rain caused severe flooding in the valley. Centralize. Verb. 중앙 집중화하다.
The CEO decided to centralize all administrative tasks in the main office. Robust. Adjective. 탄탄한, 튼튼한. The economy showed robust growth during the first quarter of the year. Incentive. Noun. 장려책, 유인, 혜택. Tax incentives were given to companies investing in renewable energy. Colossal. Adjective. 거대한, 엄청난. The ancient pyramid is a colossal structure built thousands of years ago. 시사용어 해설. Semiconductor cluster, 반도체 클러스터. 반도체를 생산하는 공장뿐만 아니라 연구소, 부품 및 장비 납품업체들이 한 지역에 모여 시너지 효과를 내는 거대한 산업단지를 말합니다. Tax incentives, 세제 혜택. 기업이 특정 지역에 투자하거나 일자리를 창출할 때 국가가 그 기업이 내야 할 세금을 깎아주거나 면제해주어 투자를 장려하는 정책입니다.
5. The Korea Herald. 5-1. Our sea is gone. Henyo from Pohang seek answers and compensation. A group of 52 traditional female divers, universally known as Henyo, traveled nearly 300 kilometers from Homigot in Pohang to stage an impassioned protest outside the headquarters of Sungyeong Engineering and Construction in Seoul. Holding banners and their traditional floating baskets, taewok, the elderly divers demanded financial compensation, claiming that a prolonged 5-year harbor renovation project has completely devastated the local marine ecosystem. According to the divers, repeated alterations to the construction site and the constant rebuilding of breakwaters deeply disturbed the seabed, destroying the rocky habitats where marine life once thrived. For many of these women, who are the primary breadwinners of their families, diving is not merely a cultural tradition, but their sole source of livelihood. Lamenting that their sea is gone, they are demanding that the construction firm take full accountability for stripping away their ability to survive. Vocabulary. Impassioned. Adjective. 열정적인, 간절한. The activist made an impassioned speech about human rights. Stage. Verb. 시위, 행사 등을 벌이다. The workers decided to stage a strike to demand higher wages. Compensation. Noun. 보상금. She received financial compensation for the injuries she suffered. Devastate. Verb. 완전히 파괴하다. The wildfire continues to devastate thousands of acres of forest. Alteration. Noun. 변경, 개조. Minor alterations were made to the initial building plans. Disturb. Verb. 방해하다, 교란하다. Loud noises from the construction site disturbed the neighborhood. Thrive. Verb. 번창하다, 잘 자라다. Tropical plants thrive in warm and humid environments. Breadwinner. Noun. 가장, 생계부양자. After his father fell ill, he became the primary breadwinner for his family. Lament. Verb. 한탄하다, 애통해하다. The poet lamented the passing of his youth in his latest book. Livelihood. Noun. 생계, 수단. The oil spill threatened the livelihood of local fishermen. 시사용어 해설. Marine ecosystem, 해양 생태계. 바닷속에 사는 생물체들과 그들이 의존해 살아가는 수온, 지형, 해수 성분 등의 환경이 이루는 거대한 생명의 고리를 의미합니다. Accountability, 책임성, 해명 의무. 단순히 잘못을 저질렀다는 것, responsibility를 넘어 자신이 한 결정이나 행동의 결과에 대해 대외적으로 명확하게 해명하고 재정적, 법적으로 합당한 책임을 지는 것을 뜻합니다. 시위나 청문회 기사에서 핵심적으로 쓰이는 단어입니다. 5-2. Korea to open FX market around the clock from July. In a sweeping overhaul of its financial regime, South Korea is set to operate its onshore foreign exchange, FX, market around the clock, starting this July. The decisive shift eliminates the previous system that effectively shuttered trading at 2 a.m., allowing global investors to access and trade the Korean won at real-time prices anytime, anywhere. This deregulation is a strategic component of the government's broader roadmap to internationalize the won and accelerate the country's upgrade to developed market status on the closely watched MSCI index. To physically support this continuous 24-hour trading, financial authorities are establishing a robust offshore won settlement system that permits foreign institutions to settle transactions overnight seamlessly. Furthermore, Seoul is actively pushing to have the won included in major global reference benchmark rates, increasing its usability and global credibility. Vocabulary. Overhaul. Noun, verb, 전면 개편, 철저히 점검하다. The tax system needs a complete overhaul to be fair to everyone. Regime. Noun, 체제, 제도, 정권. The new trade regime will heavily impact domestic manufacturers.
Onshore. Adjective. 국내에, 영내에. Onshore manufacturing is becoming cheaper due to new tax policies. Decisive. Adjective. 결정적인, 결단력 있는. The general's decisive actions saved the troops from an ambush. Shutter. Verb. 문을 닫다, 폐쇄하다. The old factory was shuttered after 30 years of operation. Deregulation. Noun. 규제 완화. Deregulation of the airline industry led to cheaper ticket prices. Settlement. Noun. 결제, 합의, 정착. The bank ensures the smooth settlement of international transactions. Seamless. Adjective. 매끄러운, 이음새 없는. The app provides a seamless user experience across all devices. Benchmark. Noun. 기준점, 지표. Her performance set a new benchmark for excellence in the company. Credibility. Noun. 신뢰성, 진실성. The scandal completely destroyed the politician's public credibility. 시사용어 해설. FX market, foreign exchange market, 외환시장. 서로 다른 국가의 통화, 돈을 교환하고 거래하는 시장입니다. 이곳에서 환율이 결정됩니다. MSCI 선진국 지수, MSCI Developed Market Index, 모건 스탠리 캐피털 인터내셔널, MSCI가 발표하는 글로벌 주가 지수로 전 세계 거대 자본들이 투자 기준으로 삼는 매우 중요한 지표입니다. 한국은 현재 신흥국 지수에 머물러 있어 선진국 지수 승격을 목표로 외환 규제를 풀고 있습니다.
5.3. Korea expands top-tier visa to professors and researchers, effective June 2026. In a strategic bid to attract world-class talent amid intensifying global competition, South Korea has significantly expanded the eligibility for its highly exclusive top-tier visa, effective June 2026. Previously restricted almost entirely to corporate employees in designated advanced industries, resulting in fewer than 20 holders nationwide, the visa is now accessible to university professors and full-time researchers in science and technology, STEM fields. This expansion covers academics at Korean universities, government-funded research institutes, and corporate R&D centers. Holders of the top-tier visa enjoy tremendous benefits, including a streamlined issuance process, full work authorization without being restricted to a single employer, and the ability for spouses to work legally. Most importantly, it accelerates the pathway to F5 permanent residency from the standard 5 years down to just 3. Experts view this policy shift as a strong signal of Korea's intent to build a welcoming, long-term ecosystem for foreign innovators. 6. CGTN 6.1. How China's healthcare advances are opening new doors to the world. China's biomedicine industry is undergoing a rapid strategic transformation, aggressively evolving from a follower of global trends into a major innovation leader. This phenomenal growth is currently powered by 3 major regional innovation hubs: the Yangtze River Delta, the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region, and the Greater Bay Area, which collectively hold over 80% of the nation's industry resources and R&D capacity. Backed by long-term government policy frameworks, regulatory reforms have accelerated clinical trial approvals by up to 40%, significantly reducing developmental costs for enterprises. As a result, China's biomedicine market value has ballooned to an estimated $700 billion, capturing 22% of the global market. Complementing this domestic innovation is a strategic push for global openness. The Boao Licheng International Medical Tourism Pilot Zone in Hainan Province has successfully introduced over 530 internationally approved advanced drugs and devices prior to their national approval.
This special zone serves as a vital gateway, granting patients early access to cutting-edge therapies while seamlessly connecting global medical innovations with China's vast healthcare consumer base. Vocabulary. Transformation. Noun. 변화, 변형, 혁신. The internet caused a radical transformation in how we communicate. Aggressively. Adverb. 공격적으로, 적극적으로. The company marketed its new smartphone aggressively to young consumers. Phenomenal. Adjective. 경이적인, 놀라운. The startup achieved phenomenal success within its first year. Collectively. Adverb. 집단적으로, 총체적으로. The committee collectively decided to reject the new proposal. Framework. Noun. 뼈대, 체제, 틀. The agreement provides a framework for future trade negotiations. Accelerate. Verb. 가속화하다, 속도를 높이다. The new technology will greatly accelerate our production process. Balloon. Verb. 부풀다, 급격히 증가하다. The project's budget ballooned due to unexpected construction delays. Complement. Verb. Noun. 보완하다, 돋보이게 하다. The excellent wine perfectly complemented the delicious meal. Pilot zone. Noun. 시범구역, 특구. The city was designated as a pilot zone for autonomous driving. Seamlessly. Adverb. 매끄럽게, 이음새 없이. The software integrates seamlessly with your existing operating system. 시사용어 해설. Clinical trial. 임상시험. 새로 개발된 약이나 의료기기가 사람에게 안전하고 효과가 있는지 확인하기 위해 환자나 건강한 사람을 대상으로 진행하는 의학적 연구 과정입니다. 승인 속도가 빠를수록 신약의 시장 출시가 앞당겨져 막대한 수익 창출이 가능합니다. Medical tourism, 의료 관광. 고품질의 의료 서비스, 수술, 최첨단 치료 등을 받기 위해 다른 나라나 특정 구역으로 여행을 떠나는 것을 말합니다. 하이난 특구처럼 자국 내에서 불가능한 선진 의료 혜택을 받으면서 휴양을 즐기는 형태가 대표적입니다.
6.2. Hainan Elds Deer Relocation Program boosts population. A concerted relocation program initiated in 2023 to save the highly endangered Hainan Elds deer has successfully boosted its population. Recognized globally as a flagship species for biodiversity conservation, this rare deer is exclusively found on the island province of Hainan in China. To alleviate severe population pressure and critical food shortages in their original habitat, local authorities carefully relocated 30 deer to a specially designated protected area in western Hainan. Thanks to their natural preference for marshy environments and the round-the-clock monitoring provided by dedicated forest rangers, the relocated deer have adapted remarkably well. As of June 2026, natural breeding has increased the relocated population to over 50 individuals. This achievement marks a significant milestone in China's ongoing ecological restoration and wildlife protection efforts. Vocabulary. Concerted. Adjective. 집중적인, 합심한. It requires a concerted effort to solve the global climate crisis. Relocation. Noun. 이전, 재배치. The company offered financial assistance for the employees' relocation. Endangered. Adjective. 멸종위기에 처한. Poaching is the biggest threat to these endangered elephants. Exclusively. Adverb. 독점적으로, 오로지. This premium content is exclusively available to our subscribers. Alleviate. Verb. 완화하다, 갱감하다. The medicine helped to alleviate the patient's terrible back pain. Habitat. Noun. 식지. Deforestation is rapidly destroying the natural habitat of many monkeys. Designate. Verb. 지정하다, 지명하다. The government designated the ancient forest as a national park. Round the clock. Adjective. 24시간 내내, 밤낮 없는. The hospital provides round-the-clock emergency medical services. Ranger. Noun. 순찰대원, 관리인. The park ranger warned the tourists not to feed the wild bears. Ecological. Adjective. 생태학의, 환경이. Organic farming aims to maintain the ecological balance of the soil. 시사용어 해설. 기대종. 특정 지역의 생태계나 환경 보존의 중요성을 대중에게 알리기 위해 상징적으로 내세우는 야생동식물을 말합니다. 귀엽거나 희귀한 동물, 예를 들어 자이언트 판다를 기대종으로 삼으면 환경보호기금을 모으거나 정책을 지지받기 쉬워집니다. 6-3. China Opportunity 2.0 offers potential for global growth. During the recent Summer Davos Forum, Chinese Premier Li Qiang articulated the vision of China Opportunity 2.0, emphasizing a strategic shift toward innovation-led, high-quality economic development. Li strongly pushed back against Western narratives warning of a so-called China Shock 2.0, arguing instead that China's continuous technological advancements and economic stability provide a much-needed safe harbor for the increasingly uncertain global economy. Under this new framework, China has committed to broader institutional opening up. By expanding pilot free trade zones and granting zero tariff treatment to 63 countries, Beijing aims to seamlessly integrate into the global market. Official data underscores this momentum, showing significant increases in foreign direct investment and a surging number of foreign invested enterprises operating within the country. Multinational corporations are increasingly drawn to China's vast consumer market and its readiness to embrace emerging technologies. Vocabulary. Articulate. Verb. 명확히 표현하다, 설명하다. The CEO articulated her vision for the company's future expansion. Pushback. Phrasal verb. 반박하다, 저항하다. Local residents pushed back against the plan to build a new factory. Narrative. Noun. 서사. 특정한 이야기나 담론. The media created a negative narrative around the new political candidate. Advancement. Noun. 발전. 진보. Rapid technological advancement has changed the way we work. Institutional. Adjective. 제도적인. 기관의. The university implemented profound institutional reforms this year. Grant. Verb. 부여하다. 승인하다. The government granted full citizenship to the refugees. Tariff. Noun. 관세. High tariffs on imported steel will raise construction costs. Underscore. Verb. 강조하다. 밑줄을 긋다. The recent accident underscores the need for better safety regulations. Momentum. Noun. 파열. 가속도. Momentum. The political campaign gained huge momentum after the televised debate. Multinational. Adjective. Noun. 파국적의. 다국적 기업. He works as a financial analyst for a massive multinational corporation. 시사용어 해설. China Shock 2.0. 중국발 경제 충격 2.0. 과거 값싼 중국산 제품이 전 세계 제조업을 휩쓸었던 현상을 1.0이라고 한다며 이제는 전기차, AI, 배터리 등 첨단 기술 제품이 저렴한 가격으로 전 세계 시장에 쏟아져 들어와 서방 기업들에게 타격을 주는 현상을 경계하며 서방 언론들이 만든 용어입니다. Free Trade Zone, 자유무역구, FTZ. 외국 기업의 투자를 유치하기 위해 관세를 면제해주거나 규제를 대폭 완화해주는 특정 경제 구역을 말합니다. 중국은 하이난 등이 대규모 자유무역항을 조성하고 있습니다. Number 7. NHK World Japan. Number 1. Protests continue in Indonesia despite government concessions. Massive anti-government demonstrations show absolutely no signs of abating across Indonesia as protesters remain deeply dissatisfied with the current administration. Even though Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto has offered several political and economic concessions in a bid to pacify the enraged public, demonstrators argue that these measures are merely superficial and highly insufficient. The root of the ongoing unrest lies not only in controversial new policies, but also in deep-seated grievances over widening economic inequality, where a tiny fraction of wealthy individuals control a disproportionate amount of the nation's total wealth. Citizens and impassioned student activists firmly assert that they will continue to occupy the streets until their core demands for genuine democratic reforms and strict anti-corruption measures are fully met. Political analysts warn that if the government fails to address these fundamental structural issues, the prolonged instability could severely cripple the nation's economy. Vocabulary. Abate. Verb. 약해지다, 수그러들다. The heavy storm finally began to abate after several hours. Concession. Noun. 양보, 타협안. Both sides must make some concessions to reach a peace agreement. Pacify. Verb. 진정시키다, 달래다. The manager tried to pacify the angry customer with a refund. Superficial. Adjective. 피상적인, 겉핥기식의. His understanding of the complex issue was completely superficial. Unrest. Noun. 사회적 불안, 소요 사태. High unemployment rates often lead to civil and political unrest. Deep-seated. Adjective. 뿌리 깊은, 고질적인.
The country suffers from deep-seated cultural prejudices. Fraction. Noun. 소수, 일부, 분수. Only a small fraction of the voters actually cast their ballots today. Disproportionate. Adjective. 불균형한, 어울리지 않는. The tax places a disproportionate burden on lower-income families. Occupy. Verb. 점거하다, 차지하다. The protesting students threatened to occupy the university library. Cripple. Verb. 심각한 손상을 주다, 마비시키다. A prolonged strike could severely cripple the national airline. 시사용어 해설. Concession. 양보, 수용. 정치나 협상에서 상대방의 요구나 압력에 못 이겨 권리나 혜택의 일부를 내어주는 것을 말합니다. 정부가 시위대에게 내놓는 타협안이나 유화책으로 해석할 수 있습니다. Economic inequality. 경제적 불평등. 한 국가 내에서 극부층과 빈곤층 간의 소득이나 자산 격차가 비정상적으로 심하게 벌어져 있는 상태를 의미합니다. 종종 시위와 사회적 불안, unrest를 폭발시키는 가장 근본적인 원인이 됩니다.
7.2. Fund managers cautious on Japanese snap election rally. Japanese equities have experienced a significant surge, driven by widespread speculation that Prime Minister Sanae Takeuchi will call a snap election in the near future. Riding on an approval rating of over 60, Takeuchi's ruling Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, is heavily favored to win, which investors believe will lead to robust economic stimulus packages and flexible fiscal policies. Consequently, the Nikkei 225 index hit record highs as optimism flooded the market. However, seasoned fund managers and economists are urging caution amidst this election-fueled rally. They point out that the continuing weakness of the yen exacerbates inflationary pressures on essential goods like food and energy for ordinary citizens. Moreover, the simultaneous rise in long-term Japanese government bond, JGB yields, reflects deep underlying concerns about the country's long-term fiscal discipline, suggesting that the current market euphoria might be overly premature. Vocabulary. Equity. Noun. 주식, 지분, 형평성. He invested a large portion of his savings in international equities. Speculation. Noun. 추측, 관측, 투기. There is widespread speculation that the CEO will resign tomorrow. Snap election. Noun. 조기 총선. The Prime Minister called a snap election to solidify his power. Stimulus. Noun. 자국제, 부양책. The government passed a new economic stimulus bill to create jobs. Fiscal. Adjective. 재정의, 국고의. The country needs to implement strict fiscal discipline to reduce debt. Euphoria. Noun. 환호, 극도의 행복감. The crowd erupted in euphoria when their team won the championship. Exacerbate. Verb. 악화시키다. His angry comments only exacerbated the already tense situation. Yield. Noun. Verb. 수익률. 양보하다. Long-term bond yields have been rising steadily over the past month. Underlying. Adjective. 근본적인, 밑에 깔린. We need to fix the underlying causes of the problem, not just the symptoms. Premature. Adjective. 시기상조의, 너무 이른. It is premature to declare victory before all the votes are counted. 시사용어 해설. Snap election. 조기 총선. 정해진 임기 만료일보다 앞당겨서 기습적으로 치르는 국회의원 선거입니다. 주로 집권 여당의 지지율이 높을 때 의석수를 확고히 하기 위해 의회를 해산하고 선거를 치르는 정치적 승부수로 쓰입니다. JGB yield. 일본 국채금리 수익률. Japanese government bond의 약자입니다. 국채금리가 오르면 이자를 갚아야 하는 일본 정부의 재정 부담이 커지기 때문에 경제의 적신호로 해석될 수 있습니다.
7.3. Is Japan safe to visit right now? 2026 status and alerts. For international travelers wondering about safety in 2026, Japan remains one of the safest destinations on the planet regarding violent crime and scams. Major foreign ministries, including the U.S. State Department, continue to keep Japan at their lowest risk rating, indicating that normal precautions are sufficient for tourists. However, travel advisories heavily emphasize that the real risks in Japan stem from unpredictable natural disasters, such as sudden earthquakes and intense typhoons during late summer. Visitors are strongly encouraged to install local disaster alert apps and familiarize themselves with hotel evacuation routes. In addition to natural threats, tourists must be highly aware of strict local regulations. Bringing certain prescription medications, like Adderall, is strictly prohibited, And places like Kyoto now impose instant fines on tourists who trespass into private residential alleys. Preparation is key to ensuring a trouble-free holiday. Vocabulary. Scam. Noun. Sagi. The email asking for your bank details is definitely a scam. Precaution. Noun. 예방 조치. 주의. Please take every precaution when driving in heavy snow. Advisory. Noun/adjective. 주의보, 경보. The government issued a travel advisory for citizens visiting the region. Stem from. Phrasal verb. 뭐뭐에서 유래하다, 기인하다. Many of his emotional problems stem from a difficult childhood. Evacuation. Noun. 대피, 피난. The city ordered a mandatory evacuation before the hurricane arrived. Prescription. Noun. 처방전. You cannot buy this strong painkiller without a doctor's prescription. Prohibit. Verb. 금지하다. Smoking is strictly prohibited inside the entire hospital building. Impose. Verb. 부과하다, 강요하다. The judge decided to impose a heavy fine on the reckless driver. Instant. Adjective. 즉각적인, 즉석의. The new product was a massive and instant success in the market. Trespass. Verb. 무단 침입하다. He was arrested for attempting to trespass on private government property. 시사 용어 해설. Travel advisory. 여행 경보, 주의보. 외교부나 국무부 등 국가기관이 자국민이 해외 특정 국가나 지역을 여행할 때 주의해야 할 위험 요소를 알리고 레벨 1, 4 등급 등으로 구분. 방문 자제나 철수를 권고하는 공식 발표입니다. Prescription medication. 처방약. 약국에서 임의로 살 수 없고 의사의 처방전이 있어야만 살 수 있는 약입니다. 국가마다 마약류로 분류되는 성분 기준이 달라 자국에서는 합법적인 약, 예 ADHD 치료제 등, 일본에서는 불법 마약류로 간주되어 구속될 수도 있으므로 매우 주의해야 합니다.
8. Al Jazeera. 8.1. Trump announces 2026 Republican midterm convention in Dallas. United States President Donald Trump has officially confirmed that the Republican Party will host a highly unusual midterm convention in Dallas, Texas, scheduled for early September. Arriving just months before the critical November 3 midterm elections, this unprecedented rally is strategically designed to showcase the administration's recent achievements and aggressively galvanize conservative voters. However, this bold move is generating skepticism and considerable concern even among high-ranking Republican officials. Critics fear that organizing a large-scale national convention will draw vital financial resources and strategic focus away from tightly contested battleground states during the crucial final stretch of the campaign. Furthermore, political experts note that the convention serves primarily to nationalize the midterm elections, placing Trump firmly at the center of the political narrative, despite his dropping approval ratings and the fact that he is not personally on the ballot. Vocabulary.
Midterm. Noun, adjective. 중간선거. 중간에. The president's party often loses seats during the midterm elections. Convention. Noun. 전당대회, 집회, 관습. The candidate was officially nominated at the national convention. Showcase. Verb, noun. 과시하다, 보여주다. The exhibition will showcase the talents of local independent artists. Galvanize. Verb. 활기를 띠게 하다, 결집시키다. The tragic event helped galvanize the community into action. Unprecedented. Adjective. 전례 없는, 유례 없는. The hurricane caused an unprecedented amount of damage to the city. Skepticism. Noun. 회의론, 의심. Her wild claims were met with skepticism by the scientific community. Draw away. Phrasal verb. 관심, 자원 등을 분산시키다. The loud noise drew my attention away from the book I was reading. Battleground. Noun. 격전지, 경합주. Ohio is considered a crucial battleground state in the presidential race. Narrative. Noun. 서사, 이야기. The media has created a false narrative about the economic crisis. Approval rating. Noun. 지지율. The mayor's approval rating plummeted after the corruption scandal. 시사용어 해설. Midterm elections. 중간 선거. 미국에서 대통령의 임기 4년, 중간인 2년 차에 치러지는 선거입니다. 상원의원 3분의 1, 하원의원 전체, 주지사 등을 뽑으며 보통 현직 대통령의 국정 운영에 대한 중간 평가 성격을 띱니다.
배틀그라운드 스테이트, 경합주. 선거에서 특정 정당, 민주당 혹은 공화당이 압도적으로 우세하지 않고 선거 때마다 승패가 엎치락뒤치락하여 최종 선거 결과를 결정짓는 핵심 지역들을 뜻합니다. 스윙 스테이트라고도 부릅니다. 8-2. 5 humanitarian workers killed in convoy ambush in South Sudan. The United Nations has expressed profound sadness and outrage following the brutal killing of 5 humanitarian workers whose convoy was ambushed in South Sudan's Jonglei state. According to UN officials, the attacked convoy was clearly marked with humanitarian insignia, making the unprovoked assault an egregious violation of international humanitarian law. Several other civilians were also reportedly killed or injured during the chaotic ambush. A UN spokesperson vehemently condemned the violence, calling for a prompt and thorough investigation to bring the perpetrators to justice. This tragic event underscores the extremely perilous environment in South Sudan, a nation ravaged by prolonged civil conflict. Tragically, since January alone, 29 humanitarian workers and associated contractors have lost their lives in the country, severely hindering efforts to deliver life-saving aid to vulnerable populations. Vocabulary. Humanitarian. Adjective. 인도주의적인. 구호해. The organization provides humanitarian aid to war-torn regions. Convoy. Noun. 차량 선박의 호송대. 행렬. An armed military convoy escorted the supply trucks across the desert. Ambush. Noun. Verb. 내복. 내복하다. The soldiers were caught completely off guard by a sudden enemy ambush. Insignia. Noun. 휘장, 표장, 마크. The officer's uniform was decorated with several shiny military insignia. Egregious. Adjective. 지독한, 터무니없는. The company made an egregious error in calculating the employee's salary. Vehemently. Adverb. 격렬하게, 맹렬하게. The politician vehemently denied the allegations of bribery and corruption. Perpetrator. Noun. 가해자, 범인. The police are reviewing security cameras to identify the perpetrator. Perilous. Adjective. 몹시 위험한. The climbers faced a perilous journey up the freezing, snow-covered mountain. Ravage. Verb. 황폐하게 만들다. 파괴하다. A massive hurricane ravaged the small coastal town last summer. Hinder. Verb. 방해하다. 저해하다. Heavy traffic severely hindered our progress on the long road trip. 주요 어휘. International humanitarian law. 국제인도법. 무력 충돌, 전쟁이나 내전 시 지켜야 할 최소한의 인간적 규칙을 정한 국제법입니다. 민간인, 포로, 부상병, 그리고 구호단체 요원이나 의료진을 군사적 공격 목표로 삼는 것을 엄격히 금지하고 있습니다. convoy, 호송대, 차량 행렬. 위험한 지역을 통과할 때 서로를 보호하기 위해 무리를 지어 함께 이동하는 트럭이나 군사 차량들의 행렬을 뜻합니다. 구호물자를 전달할 때 흔히 사용되는 방식입니다. 8-3. Evolution under fire. Iran's axis of resistance in a post-war era. Following the intense military confrontation between the United States and Iran, analysts are fiercely debating the future and effectiveness of Iran's axis of resistance in the post-war era. This intricate network of proxy militias across the Middle East has long been Tehran's primary instrument for projecting regional power. Skeptics argue that the sheer scale of the U.S. strikes, which heavily targeted Iranian military infrastructure, energy sites, and senior officials, has permanently degraded Iran's strategic deterrence capabilities.
Conversely, other intelligence assessments suggest that the Axis is far from defeated. Rather, it is mutating into a highly resilient and decentralized force. Despite enduring significant casualties, these proxy groups have managed to rapidly restore key operational bases and maintain their localized influence. Ultimately, the evolution of this network indicates that external military dominance alone cannot dismantle Iran's deep-rooted regional leverage. Vocabulary: proxy, noun, dairy, dairy-seric. The two superpowers fought a proxy war in the developing nation.
Militia. Noun. 민병대. Local militias were formed to protect the village from rebel attacks. Project. Verb. 영향력 등을 투사하다. 보여주다. The massive naval fleet helped the empire project power globally. Skeptic. Noun. 회의론자. 의심하는 사람. Even the biggest skeptics were convinced by the clear scientific evidence. Degrade. Verb. 약화시키다. 저하시키다. The continuous cyber attacks severely degraded the enemy's communication systems. Deterrence. Noun. 억지. 제지. A strong military is often viewed as a necessary deterrence against war. Conversely, adverb. 반대로, 역으로. You can add milk to the tea, or conversely, pour the tea into the milk. Mutate. Verb. 진화하다. 돌연변이를 일으키다. The virus has mutated into a much more contagious and dangerous strain. Resilient. Adjective. 회복력 있는, 탄력 있는. The economy proved to be highly resilient despite the global financial crash. Leverage. Noun. 영향력. 지렛대. The labor union used the upcoming strike as leverage during wage negotiations. 시사 용어 해설. Axis of resistance. 저항의 축. 이란을 중심으로 하여 중동 지역에서 미국과 이스라엘의 영향력에 반대, 저항하는 무장단체 및 정치 세력들의 연합을 뜻합니다. 헤즈볼라, 레바논, 후티 반군, 예멘, 하마스, 팔레스타인 등이 여기에 속합니다. Deterrence, 억지력. 내가 가진 무기나 힘이 너무 강력해서 상대방이 섣불리 나를 공격하지 못하게 마음을 먹게 만드는 힘이나 전략을 말합니다. 주로 핵무기나 강력한 미사일 전력이 억지력의 핵심이 됩니다. 9. CBC Canada. 9-1. What July 1st means for CUSMA, Canada's trade deal with the U.S. and Mexico. July 1st, 2026 marks a highly critical deadline for the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement, CUSMA, triggering the first mandatory trilateral review since the pact officially replaced NAFTA 6 years ago. Officials from all three nations are convening to decisively determine the future of this massive trade deal, which currently shields nearly 90% of Canadian exports from aggressive U.S. tariffs. While both Canada and Mexico have formally declared their strong desire to secure a 16-year extension until 2042, option A, the unpredictable stance of the United States remains the primary wild card. U.S. President Donald Trump has frequently criticized the agreement, threatening to terminate it or impose steep tariffs to boost American domestic manufacturing. Should the nations fail to agree on a long-term extension, they will be forced into endless annual renegotiations. Option B, a scenario that would plunge the entire North American continent into profound economic uncertainty. Vocabulary. Mandatory. Adjective. 의무적인, 강제의. Wearing a seatbelt is mandatory for all passengers in the car. Trilateral. Adjective. 삼자간의, 삼국의. The leaders held a trilateral meeting to discuss regional security. Convene. Verb. 소집하다, 모이다. The board of directors will convene tomorrow morning for a meeting. Shield. Verb. Noun. 보호하다, 방패. Sunscreen is necessary to shield your skin from harmful UV rays. Stance. Noun. 입장, 태도. The politician maintained a firm stance on reducing carbon emissions. Wildcard. Noun. 예측 불가능한 변수. The weather is the biggest wildcard for our outdoor wedding plans. Terminate. Verb. 종료하다, 끝내다. You can terminate the contract early by paying a cancellation fee. Domestic. Adjective. 국내의, 가정의. The government is offering subsidies to boost domestic agriculture. Plunge. Verb. 어떤 상태로 몰아넣다, 급락하다. The sudden power outage plunged the entire neighborhood into darkness. Profound. Adjective. 엄청난, 심오한.
The discovery had a profound impact on the medical community. CSMA, 신북미 자유무역협정. 미국, 멕시코, 캐나다가 맺은 자유무역협정입니다. 나라마다 부르는 이름이 다른데 캐나다는 자국 이름을 앞세워 CSMA로 부르고 미국은 USMCA로 부릅니다. 기존의 네프타를 대체하여 노동 조건과 자동차 원산지 규정 등이 더욱 엄격해진 것이 특징입니다. 테오F, 관세. 외국에서 수입되는 물건에 국가가 부과하는 세금입니다. 자국 산업인 domestic manufacturing을 보호하기 위해 수입품의 가격을 의도적으로 비싸게 만들 때 주로 사용하며 트럼프 행정부 무역 정책의 핵심 무기입니다.
9.2. Sudan declares new cholera outbreak months after official end to previous one. Sudan's Ministry of Health has officially declared a new and deadly outbreak of cholera in West Kordofan state, reporting at least 117 deaths and over 800 suspected cases as of late June. Alarmingly, this resurgence comes merely 4 months after the northeastern African nation declared an official end to a brutal 2-year epidemic that infected over 124,000 people and claimed more than 3,500 lives. Cholera, an acute intestinal infection caused by contaminated water or food, spreads rapidly in unsanitary conditions. The World Health Organization, WHO, Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned that the outbreak is severely exacerbated by the ongoing civil war. The violent conflict has not only caused massive internal displacement, but has also completely disrupted essential health services, making it exceedingly difficult for response teams to deliver life-saving treatments and clean water to the affected regions. Vocabulary. Outbreak. Noun. 질병, 전쟁 등의 발발, 발생. The sudden outbreak of the virus forced the city into a strict lockdown. Resurgence. Noun. 재기, 부활, 재발. The country is facing a dangerous resurgence of measles cases. Epidemic. Noun. 전염병, 유행병. The flu epidemic spread rapidly through the densely populated schools. Acute. Adjective. 급성해, 예리한, 극심한. The patient was rushed to the hospital suffering from acute chest pains. Intestinal. Adjective. 장애, 창자해. Bacteria in the food caused a severe intestinal infection. Contaminated. Adjective. 오염된. Do not drink from the river, as the water is heavily contaminated. Unsanitary. Adjective. 비위생적인. The refugees were forced to live in cramped and unsanitary conditions. Exacerbate. Verb. 악화시키다. His angry comments only exacerbated the already tense situation. Displacement. Noun. 쫓겨남, 난민 발생. The civil war caused the massive internal displacement of millions of citizens. Disrupt. Verb. 지정을 주다, 마비시키다. The heavy snowfall disrupted the city's public transportation system. 시사 용어 해설. 콜레라. 콜레라균에 오염된 물이나 음식을 먹었을 때 발생하는 수인성 전염병으로 극심한 설사와 탈수를 일으킵니다. 깨끗한 식수와 상하수도 시설이 파괴된 전쟁터나 난민촌에서 걷잡을 수 없이 퍼지는 대표적인 후진국형 질병입니다. Internal displacement. 국내 실향, 국내 난민 발생. 국경을 넘어 다른 나라로 피난을 간 난민, refugee와 달리 전쟁이나 재난을 피해 자신의 나라 안에서 이리저리 떠도는 사람들을 뜻합니다. 수단은 세계 최악의 국내 실향민 사태를 겪고 있습니다. 9-3. Changes are coming to auto insurance policies in Ontario starting this July. Significant regulatory changes are coming to standard auto insurance policies in the Canadian province of Ontario starting this July. Under the newly revised rules, certain coverage benefits that were previously strictly mandatory for all drivers will now be reclassified as optional. This legislative shift is designed to provide consumers with greater flexibility, potentially allowing them to drop the cost of their monthly premiums by opting out of specific coverages they feel they do not need. However, this newfound choice comes with a strong caveat. Financial and insurance experts are urgently warning policyholders against hastily stripping away protections merely to save money in the short term. Leaving coverage exposed to risk could result in devastating out-of-pocket expenses for medical care or vehicle replacement in the unfortunate event of a major accident. Vocabulary. Standard. Adjective/noun. 표준의, 기준. The hotel room was equipped with standard amenities like a TV and Wi-Fi. Policy. Noun. 정책, 방침, 보험증권. You should read your life insurance policy carefully before signing it.
Mandatory. Adjective. 의무적인, 강제. Attendance at the safety orientation is mandatory for all new employees. Reclassify. Verb. 재분류하다. The government decided to reclassify the drug as a controlled substance. Optional. Adjective. 선택적인. Taking the advanced math class is entirely optional for high school students. Flexibility. Noun. 유연성, 융통성. Working from home offers great flexibility in managing your daily schedule. Premium. Noun. 보험료, 할증료. My car insurance premium went up significantly after I had a minor accident. Opt out. Phrasal verb. 빠지다, 거부하다. Employees can choose to opt out of the company's healthcare plan. Caveat. Noun. 경고, 주의사항. He agreed to lend me his car, but with one major caveat. No speeding. Out of pocket. Adjective. 자비로 부담하는. Even with insurance, my out-of-pocket medical expenses were quite high. 시사 용어 해설. Auto insurance premium. 자동차 보험료. 자동차 보험에 가입한 대가로 보험회사에 정기적으로 매월 혹은 매년 내는 돈을 뜻합니다. 보장 범위가 넓고 사고 혜택이 클수록 내야 할 프리미엄, 즉 보험료가 비싸집니다. Opt-out. 선택적 거부, 탈퇴. 기본적으로는 가입이 되어 있거나 제공되는 혜택이지만 본인의 의사에 따라 그것을 받지 않겠다고 스스로 빠져나오는 행위를 말합니다. 반대로 본인이 원해서 선택해 들어가는 것은 opt-in이라고 합니다.
10. DD India. 10.1. PM Modi speaks with Iranian President Pezeshkian on West Asia situation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a crucial telephone conversation with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian to deeply discuss the rapidly evolving geopolitical situation in West Asia. According to the Prime Minister's office, President Pezeshkian briefed PM Modi on recent regional developments, actively highlighting the shifting dynamics amid recent U.S.-Iran ceasefire memorandums and ongoing diplomatic negotiations in Doha. This high-level dialogue powerfully underscores India's proactive diplomatic approach to maintaining regional stability, which is absolutely vital for securing its energy supply chains and protecting its broad economic interests in the Middle East. As tensions between Washington and Tehran experience volatile shifts, ranging from diplomatic agreements to sudden military skirmishes, India is strategically positioning itself as a balanced and reliable intermediary. Both leaders reaffirmed their steadfast commitment to deepening bilateral ties, despite the complex global backdrop. Vocabulary. Crucial. Adjective. 결정적인, 중대한. Excellent teamwork is crucial to the success of this project. Evolve. Verb. 진화하다, 점진적으로 변하다. The simple idea evolved into a highly successful international business. Geopolitical. Adjective. 지정학적인. The region's geopolitical importance attracts major global powers. Dynamic. Noun. 역학, 관계, 동력. The family dynamics changed completely after the baby was born. Proactive. Adjective. 주도적인, 예방적인. The company took a proactive approach in dealing with customer complaints. Volatile. Adjective. 변동성이 큰, 불안정한. Investing in volatile stocks can be very risky for beginners. Skirmish. Noun. 소규모 충돌, 국지전. A minor border skirmish broke out between the two neighboring countries. Intermediary. Noun. 중재자, 매개체. The diplomat acted as an intermediary between the warring factions. Reaffirm. Verb. 재확인하다. The president reaffirmed his commitment to lowering taxes for the middle class. Bilateral. Adjective. 양국의, 쌍방의. The two nations signed a new bilateral trade agreement yesterday. 시사 용어 해설. West Asia, 서아시아. 인도나 유럽 등에서 중동, Middle East 지역을 지리적 위치에 기반해 보다 객관적이고 포괄적으로 일컫는 외교 용어입니다. 이란, 사우디아라비아, 이스라엘 등이 포함되며 글로벌 원유 공급의 핵심 지역입니다. Intermediary, 중재자, 중개가. 서로 갈등을 겪거나 외교 단절이 일어난 두 국가나 집단 사이에서 의사를 전달하고 평화적인 협상을 돕는 제3국을 뜻합니다. 인도는 미국과 이란 양측 모두와 경제적, 외교적 관계를 맺고 있어 이 역할을 부각하고 있습니다. Number 10. 2. Delhi Cabinet approves EV Policy 2026 to boost electric mobility. In a major stride toward combating severe urban air pollution, the Delhi Cabinet has officially approved the Delhi Electric Vehicle EV Policy 2026 to rapidly accelerate the adoption of electric mobility. Proposed to take full effect in July, this forward-looking framework will remain active until 2030 and places significant emphasis on transitioning away from older, highly polluting internal combustion engine vehicles. The government is offering generous scrappage incentives, ranging from $10,000 for old two-wheelers up to $1 lakh for four-wheelers, which can be combined with standard EV purchase subsidies. To further entice consumers, the policy guarantees a 100% exemption from road taxes and vehicle registration fees for all pure electric vehicles under a specific price threshold. Accompanying these financial perks is an ambitious infrastructural plan targeting the installation of 32,000 public EV charging points across the sprawling capital. Vocabulary: stride, noun, 진전, 걸음걸이. The scientists made a major stride in finding a cure for the disease. Combat, verb, 방지하다, 맞서 싸우다. The police are implementing new strategies to combat street crime. Adoption, noun, 채택, 도입, 입양. The rapid adoption of smartphones completely changed the media industry. Transition, noun, verb, 전환, 이행. The country's transition from a dictatorship to a democracy was peaceful. Combustion, noun, 연소. The internal combustion engine relies on burning fossil fuels to generate power. Generous, adjective, 후한, 관대한. She made a very generous donation to the local animal shelter. Scrappage, noun, 폐차, 고철 처리. The government introduced a vehicle scrappage scheme to remove old cars. Entice, verb, 꿰다, 유도하다. The store tried to entice customers by offering huge discounts on opening day. Exemption, noun, 면제. Charities often receive a tax exemption from the federal government. Sprawling, adjective, 제멋대로 뻗어나가는, 방대한. Los Angeles is a sprawling city with numerous diverse neighborhoods.
시사 용어 해설. Scrappage incentive, 폐차 보조금. 사람들이 대기 오염을 일으키는 오래된 중고차를 버리고 새 친환경차를 사도록 유도하기 위해 기존 차량을 폐차할 때 국가가 지원해주는 현금성 보상입니다. Internal combustion engine, 내연기관. 휘발유나 디젤 등 화석연료를 태워서 combustion, 폭발하는 힘으로 움직이는 전통적인 자동차 엔진을 말합니다. 전기차, EV와 대비되는 개념으로 쓰입니다.
10.3. India marks largest ever participation at Summer Fancy Food Show 2026. India has officially marked its largest ever participation at the Summer Fancy Food Show 2026, North America's premier specialty food exhibition held in New York City. Organized jointly by the Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, APEDA, and the Department of Commerce, the expansive India Pavilion features more than 70 exhibitors. These vendors are showcasing the immense diversity and growing strength of India's agricultural exports, presenting premium products such as basmati rice, exotic spices, organic goods, and high-value mango varieties to global buyers. Michelin-starred chefs were even brought in to curate daily tasting menus, brilliantly demonstrating the versatility of authentic Indian ingredients. This record-breaking participation reflects a strategic push by Indian exporters to capture a lucrative share of the North American consumer packaged food market, which is estimated to represent a massive $30 to $50 billion opportunity over the coming decade. Vocabulary: premier, adjective, 최고의, 제1회. The city's premier hotel hosted the International Diplomatic Conference. Specialty, noun, adjective, 특산물, 전문의. The small bakery's specialty is traditional French sourdough bread. Expansive, adjective, 넓은, 광범위한. The museum features an expansive collection of modern art. Immense, adjective, 엄청난, 어마어마한. Building the Great Wall of China required an immense amount of labor. Exotic, adjective, 이국적인, 외국의. She decorated her living room with exotic plants from South America. Curate, verb, 전시 등을 기획하다, curating하다. The museum director carefully curated a special exhibition on ancient Egypt. Versatility, noun, 다재다능함, 다용도성. The smartphone's versatility makes it an essential tool for modern life.
Authentic. Adjective. 정통의, 진짜의. The restaurant serves highly authentic Italian pasta dishes. Lucrative. Adjective. 수익성이 좋은, 돈이 되는. She left her current job for a much more lucrative position in tech. Decade. Noun. 10년. The technology industry has changed dramatically over the past decade. 시사용어 해설. APEDA. 농산물 및 가공식품 수출진흥청. Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, APEDA의 약자로 인도 정부 산하에서 농산물 수출을 장려하고 국제시장을 개척하는 핵심 국가기관입니다. 한국의 AT, 한국농수산식품유통공사와 비슷한 역할을 합니다. Consumer Packaged Food, 소비자 포장식품. 마트나 편의점 진열대에서 바로 집어 살 수 있도록 개별 포장되어 유통되는 식음료 제품을 말합니다. 바쁜 현대인들의 라이프 스타일에 맞춰 북미 등 선진국에서 시장 규모가 막대합니다.